This is my Coleman big and tall quad chair, and in this video we'll be testing its ease of setup, seat size, pockets, drainage, portability, and much more. To set up this chair, first undo the drawstring at the top of the chair and release the cinch. Next, stand the carry bag up and pull down on the bag. I'm not very strong, so I find this to be the easiest way for me. This is the back of the chair. These are the armrests, so just grab opposite ends, pull it open, and it's basically done. When I timed myself setting it up, it took me just 11 seconds. To pack up the chair, grab two of the four corners, preferably opposite ends, and pull everything together. If you're not strong like me, you'll want to lay it flat on the ground to do so. It's much easier to get the feet into the bag this way. When the chair frame is back in, stand it up and fold the rest in. There's a lot of material at the top of this chair, and the carry bag is a little bit tight, so it might take you slightly longer than you'd think to fold everything back in. Here's another full time lapse, and my entire pack away took me about 44 seconds, including getting it back into the bag. As for the unfolded dimensions, here's what I measured. The longest width from armrest to armrest comes in at about 36 inches. The longest length, which is from the back of the chair to the front of the seat, comes in at about 23.5 inches, and the total height comes in at about 38 inches from the ground to the top of the chair. This is actually slightly smaller than the marketed dimensions all around. Now, if you want more detailed seat measurements, here's everything to know. Total seat width is almost 24 inches. So, at first, you might think that this is in line with the marketed specs, right here. But take note that the seat width at the front, after taking into account the two steel bars by the sides, is actually only about 19 inches or almost 5 inches less. So this might give you a little less space than what you were expecting, but for me it was still more than enough. Seat depth from the back to the front of the seat is 19 inches. Now seat height is supposed to come in at about 19 inches. So when you measure the seat height from the front of the chair, it really does come in at almost 19 inches. However, after you sit down and you take the height from the ground upwards to where you're sitting down, that comes in at only about 15 inches. So the seat actually sinks down by about 3.5 inches. The backrest height, which is from where the seat ends to the top of the chair, comes in at 20 inches. This is enough to cover my entire back, but not enough to give me a neck rest. And the backrest width is 22 inches. Lastly, the angle of recline from the side taken with a digital projector is about 9 degrees, so very slightly reclined. Now, we're moving on to features, starting with the armrests. These are slightly padded, and I think they're made of the same material as the rest of the chair. It's not meant to be adjustable, but I did notice I could move the connections at the back of the chair. At a high angle, it definitely doesn't stay though. But it was fine in the middle for me, and this was the right size for me. A plus here is that if your arms are longer, you can actually shift it down so you'd have more space to rest your arms. Moving on to storage, first we have a cup holder on the left armrest. This measures almost 4 inches in diameter, and it can fit not only just canned beverages, but even up to a 1 liter Nalgene bottle. It's also very slightly insulated, as you can see here. And on the right armrest we have storage pockets. These pockets are joined together with Velcro, so once you undo it, you'll find two pockets underneath. One is a mesh pocket and the other is a clear plastic waterproof pocket for your phone. The waterproof pocket measures almost 7 inches in length with an average width of about 3.5 inches. And it fits a regular iPhone perfectly. It's zippered, not branded, but works well enough. As for the other pocket, this has dimensions of almost 8 inches by 4.5 inches. And this is meant for everything else that you want to keep close to you. The cool part here is that if you don't need the pockets, you can just secure it back using the Velcro and it becomes part of the armrest again. Another cool feature this chair has is drainage. In the middle of the seat, you'll find this rubber Coleman logo, and if you look carefully, you'll see that this is actually a small hole. If you're wondering how big it is, it's actually the size of a hole punch. I found this when I first bought the chair. So if you accidentally spill your drink or something, this hole in the seat helps to get rid of some of the water that's spilled. But I found that there's still quite a lot of water left, so it's not like it's going to be 100% effective. The cup holder also has a drainage hole as well and basically works the exact same way. As for materials, not much info was provided, just that the seat is made of polyester and the frame is made of steel. The fabric is quite thickly padded, so this will keep you warm in colder months. And the poles are thicker and beefier than regular camping chairs. When I measured them, they came in at close to an inch thick. The rivets are simple, typical of more budget camping chairs as well, but they've held up well so far. The frame is also your typical X-pole structures throughout the entire chair, which is also the same as most camp chairs. The feet are definitely larger than most though, and this is meant to prevent tipping. Coupled with the fact that it's very heavy, I found this chair to be very stable. As for stitching, I found loose threads in several places all around the chair, which is quite typical of Coleman gear, but this didn't affect my use at all. And here's some additional info. This chair has your typical 1-year Coleman warranty, and it's made in China. For portability, this chair is quite big and has a pack size of around 38 by 8 by 7 inches. Detailed specs will be on screen. For some reference, that's about 60% longer than a 2-person Coleman Sundom tent. For ease of carry, the bag comes with a shoulder strap. It's not padded and not adjustable, but it works well enough. The weight of the chair comes in at 9.8 pounds, the storage bag is 0.2 pounds, and the total weight of everything is 10 pounds exactly. For pros, the seat width may not exactly be 24 inches like marketed because of the steel bars right here, but I love that it is still wider than most chairs. It's so wide that I can actually sit cross-legged with my legs up on the chair, which is very comfy for me. Here's a quick table comparing 3 different Coleman chairs that I've tested, and as you can see, the big and tall chair is definitely not just the widest, but also the deepest, giving you lots of space. But I think the biggest pro of this chair is the very generous seat height, coming in at slightly more than 15 inches. This is much higher than most camp chairs on the market, and here's how the big and tall compares to Coleman's other most popular chairs. In fact, this seat height is almost as tall as a regular dining or office chair, so it's great if you have trouble getting out of lower seats. Now, if you're wondering why they marketed this as Coleman's big and tall chair, it's because the seat size is bigger and it also sits higher, hence, well, big and tall. Another big pro is the super high weight limit on this chair, coming in at a whopping 600 pounds. In order to support such a high weight limit, I noticed that the fabric and poles on the Big and Tall are definitely thicker than your average camp chair, and hence not as prone to ripping or breaking, so better durability all around. Here's another table comparing the weight limits of the Coleman chairs that I've tested. The Big and Tall is double the other two. And to support this weight limit, notice that the poles are also about 40% thicker than your regular camp chair. Another pro of the Big and Tall is that it has lots of cool features. For example, you have adjustable armrests, lots of storage, including a cup holder, waterproof phone pocket, and even another pocket for storing your sunnies or your keys or something. And if you don't want to use the pockets, you can easily stow them away such that they become part of the armrest again. And on top of that, you even get a cup holder drain plus a seat drain as well. And to top it all off, the price of the Big and Tall isn't very expensive. I took the MSRP of all these chairs from Coleman's official website. I noticed that it is more expensive than the other two, but $70 is still quite a good budget price for a good quality camp chair. If you found this video helpful so far, it means a lot if you could help me hit that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. But of course, the biggest con of the chair is its big pack size, and it's heavy too. Here's the data of all 3 Coleman chairs, and I've added in a 2-person Coleman Sundom tent for some reference as well. Notice that the Big and Tall is by far the heaviest item here, and its pack volume is also like 60 to 100% bigger than everything else here. The reason for this is because of your bigger and taller seat, plus your thicker poles and thicker fabric as well. So just keep this in mind if you want to buy it. With lots of pros and not many cons at all, I can easily say that this is my favorite Coleman chair that I've tested so far, and I think it's great if you need a big and tall seat at a budget price. But is this the strongest chair on the market if you have a bigger budget? Well, it's not, and to find out which chairs are stronger, bigger, and taller, you can check out this video on screen for everything you need to know about camp chairs. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in that one.